You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live.
Hello and welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name is John Townley and I'm joined by Ashley Priest to talk about Villa's next Premier League game against Crystal Palace on Saturday. Ash, you've just come back from Bodymoor Heath, back from the press conference. How are you feeling?
A bit bloated, mate, to tell you the truth. I had that many sandwiches. I've had just sandwich after Unai's press conference. So could have a low down, to tell you the truth, John. Pretty detailed press conference again from Unai. He's just desperate for home form to click into place. He really is. Given the successes we've had away from home, it's just this home comfort he wants now at Villa Park, and there'll be an expectant crowd down there tomorrow, given the win at Everton and the manner of that. And he was asked some interesting stuff about maybe the supporters maybe harming the players to perform at Villa Park, and with it all being rush, and you're losing the ball too much. He wants his players to calm down a little bit and build up slowly, and the chances will come that way. So he's hoping for some home comforts tomorrow. It'd be great to get back to winning ways down there, given with Leicester, Arsenal, and the previous one. So get back to winning ways tomorrow against a side we've got a good record against. So fingers crossed, John. Yeah,
and we can maybe finally get into the top 10 as well. I think Chelsea is it Leeds at home? I think.
Yeah.
We know that. So there's every chance that Leeds could get something, because obviously they've had a bit of a bounce under the manager. So if we win our game, there's every chance that we could finally get into the top 10, and that's probably been the sort of message for the last few weeks, because it's me and Dan always say it's really depressing after a game and you win or whatever it may be, and you just can't get any closer to where you want to be. And all the teams below us are sort of nowhere near us, even though we've lost 3 of our last 4. So getting into the top 10 is probably the motivation this week, as well as nailing that home form as well.
Yeah, massive. That he's at the top 10. That's the aim. He said that's the remit for the next 2 months. Said that just now, Emery. So Chelsea are there at the moment. They play Leeds tomorrow at the same time. Nice carrot for the players to have. Top 10 finish, first time since 2011. Can they go and do that before the season's out? Given some players in form at the moment, back them to do so. So that's been spoken about in the meetings this week. Can they go and do it? Because I think they could have done it against Leicester. Failed. Could have done it against Arsenal. I think could have jumped in there maybe, and now they can hopefully do it tomorrow.
Just taking a gulp of water as you finished. Not sound dramatic, but it would be a bit alarming for me if we didn't get the result, just because it would then be, if I'm not mistaken, I think it would be 1 win in 7 home games. Obviously, Stevenage included, so 1 win in 6 league games if we don't win against Palace. And that actually sounds really bad, considering all the sort of positivity that we've had since Emery's come in. And I don't want to be negative, but to put another spin on it, if we don't get the win, one win in 7 is a bit. We just say that's alarming. It's like away form has been perfectly fine. But 1 win in 7 really kind of does nail home what a poor record we do have over the last couple of months.
Yeah, for sure. Really, it's relegation form. That is 1 win in 7 at home, isn't it, really? But it's a massive issue at the moment, massive talking point amongst the supporters as well. Why can't they transfer their away performances to Villa Park? And I'm interested in the crowd tomorrow, how they react. Should Emery take his time a little bit more at the back? Because I know Martinez does ruffle a few feathers, especially playing at home as well, when he takes his time. He's had five bookings this season, all for time wasting. And he started that last week at Everton, the 77th minute. But away from home, you don't mind it as much, do you, when you're trying to see out results? So, interesting to see how the crowd react to Villa possibly building up more slowly tomorrow. But there's some favourable home games coming up, John. Like you say, Palace is a good chance to get back to winning ways tomorrow. A side that haven't won it all since the turn of the year. Bournemouth's the next one after that. You got a fancy Villa there. Forest, then you got Newcastle, and then Fulham. So the home fixtures are pretty decent on paper. So hopefully he starts to click into place. Plus the away form, plus Ollie Watkins banging the goals in, and hopefully defensively they're wising up a little bit. Because even last week, John, we needed a Mings clearance off the line. We needed a strong Martinez save from a header. It could have been different last week. Just then key moments. So. Try not to give away them big chances. Tomorrow will be a start as well. But Emily just said to me, their clean sheet's the one tomorrow. The target that against Everton, got it. Clean sheet is the bonus tomorrow. If they get a clean sheet, I'm sure they'll be they'll be buzzing in the dressing room. That's the big game tomorrow, because obviously that's the the foundation to get a big result. So that's hopefully that tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, and you back us, if we were to get a clean sheet, you'd back us to win any game, really, home or away, because we've clearly got goals in the team with Watkins and other players also stepping up of late too. I forgot my next point. The point about Everton, about them having multiple chances. I remember watching Match of the Day, and you're right, in the first half or the first sort of section of their showing of our game, we were almost getting battered. You don't realise it when you're watching it. But yeah, so that's again something. We're hardly the finished article yet, are we? So there's plenty of progress to be made under Emery, but again, the home form is clearly the outstanding target. Fixing that, I suppose.
Yeah.
We'll move on to what was said in the press, or at least the broadcast section. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the 20-minute showing of it. Probably not. You just come through the door, haven't you? Oh, you have.
Yeah, so I was in the broadcast section. To be fair, we're all as one now, so which is much more helpful for us newspaper journalists. So yeah, I was there. Big talking, but was obviously Martinez at the start, and Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins has to get dragged away from shooting practice at the end of training. Stop! All the coaches say, "Come in. You might get an injury." So he's doing individual work himself, trying to continue his run, I guess. So they're having to drag Ollie off the training pitch, which is nice to hear, really, isn't it? He's trying to get better and better. Got the England squad announcement coming up at the end of the month as well. I'm sure he'll be in there. Yeah. So lots of positive words about Ollie today, and rightly so.
Yeah, if you haven't heard the quote or seen the quote, I should say, Emery said every day at training, when we're finishing, he wants to take more exercises. He wants to do more at the end of training individually and with the coaches. His mentality is very good. Sometimes we have to stop him. We have to tell him, no, this is enough for today. Tomorrow we do more. So yeah, it's that sort of approach and attitude, work ethic that separates the top players. And by no means is Watkins one of the best strikers in the Premier League, but on current form, he's there. And he, as I say, only all of our players have got room to improve under Emery, and you presume that Watkins has got the ceiling to continue. We know he's a hard-working player because he's obviously been with the club for a few years now, and I don't doubt that staying for extra finishing is something new, to be honest. But under Emery, it makes it sound a bit more sort of, he can go up new levels, and because of what he's done in the last few weeks as well, that's only a positive thing. And yeah, that mentality is what separates the top players from the players who don't make it at the very elite level.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and Ollie Watkins wants to be an elite level striker. Obviously, in the summer, he had a striking coach and really wanted to work on that aspect of his game. Because let's be honest, Johnny, he didn't miss a fair amount of chances, didn't he? He didn't fancy him with a one-on-one. He'd panic. He'd rush his shots when he's in on goal, and 9 times out of 10, he'd miss the target, or it'd be an easy save for the keeper. But that's not happening now. He's fancying himself every time he goes one-on-one or up against the defender. Even in himself, his persona, he looks so much more confident now. So he's on a hot streak at the minute, and he's doing all he can, doing extras at Bodymore to make sure he keeps that consistency. Their strikers have that consistency, don't they, John? The Harry Kanes, Rashford right now, they're doing all the right things, and Watkins wants to be in that bracket. Yeah,
and fair play to him as well. Hopefully he can continue. How many goals do you think he'll score from now to the end of the season? I think we have 14 games left and he needs 7. So a goal every other game to break his 14 goal record from the first year, which is obviously quite a tall order, because if he goes 2 games without a goal, which isn't, the end of the world, that all of a sudden means he has to score more in as many games, So yeah, how many goals do you think he'll get?
Yeah, but I'm nice to hit that 15 mark, just one ahead of his first season total. I'm sure we'll be aiming for that. It'd be nice to get 15. Beat his first year total. And you know what? You're backing, really, given the players Villa have got floating off. Buendia's in form at the moment. McGinn's bursting forward into the box, creating chances, and McGinn's winning penalties. And by the looks of it, Watkins is the new penalty taker as well. So that's a bonus for him. Yeah, I fancy him to get 15. Be nice to get him close to that 19 goal mark from Benteke, but yeah, it takes something to do that. But yeah, 15 goals would be a record for him in the Premier League with Villa. Would be massive.
Yeah, and the only sort of other comment, it was quite a general press conference, nothing particularly amazing was said, although that quote about Watkins I thought was really good. But then the other stuff about Martinez, as you mentioned earlier, Ash, just sort of reiterating the stance again that he's almost, is not for sale. He wants him in his long-term plans. And although there was talk, possibly even as early as last week or the week before, that a Champions League club, if one came knocking, then what could we do? But now it almost seems Martinez has come out in the week as well and said that he wants to win trophies with the club again. But the comment from Emery today was that he wants him to stay here for a long time, I think it was. And as you said a couple of weeks ago as well, they're almost on that sort of level, terms. They're both in it for the long run, and they both sort of share the same ambitions of getting Villa back to where the club, wants to be.
Yeah, they're both on the same page, John. You're spot on. And Martinez's interview in the week was fantastic to hear, really. He wants to do things no one else has done player-wise, and he's done it with the Argentina World Cup, Copa America, and now he wants to win a trophy at Villa, first time since '96, a major trophy. He wants to be remembered in history when he retires. He doesn't want to be another Champions League player, this, that, and the other, and being a member of a good team. He wants to build a legacy, and hopefully that's at Villa. But yeah, it'd be interesting if offers do come in the summer, maybe, but I can't see it myself. And from here on in, I think he's here to stay. And like Emery said today, he's here long term, and they're going to build a side around him into next season and beyond. So yeah, buzzing with that news. Fantastic goalkeeper and even better person as well. So yeah, he's here to stay, and like you say, just so important to Villa moving forward.
Yeah, we'll move on to an injury update. There's one sort of, I don't think it's actually an injury, but if you can shed some light on Dendoncker, I don't think he trained today. I think it was, I'm not too sure what the circumstances were, but I don't think he'll be playing tomorrow. And then any other injury news that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, it's just Dendoncker, really. Didn't train today. He won't be involved tomorrow due to personal reasons. So it's a private matter. We'll leave it private. So no Dendoncker tomorrow. Coutinho still out. Diego Carlos, hopefully in April, return another month away. He's having a day off now and again, Diego Carlos, just to manage his workload. So he's training with the group, and then he'll have a day off when the lads are in, just to manage his workload a little bit and ease him back in that way. Robin Olsen's back, and Emery said there'll be two keepers on the bench tomorrow again, which is just frustrates some supporters. I asked him about the academy. Is the academy up to it? Can you promote one of the academy lads? And he just said he doesn't want to fool him in that sense. When they're ready, they'll be there. Villa's first team had an academy game against the academy, the 21s on Wednesday. So it was the 21s against the Villa's first team in a training match. So, and he said he's got Sil Swinkles, Josh Feeney, and Caden Young still training with the first team. So he says when they're ready, when they're pushing for a place in the team, they'll be on the bench. But for now, he's happy with the options he's got with Duran, Traore, and people like that on the bench. So, yeah, it just frustrates some supporters. That two goalkeeper thing. But yeah, there's another one, isn't there? One more injury, I can't think. Jed Steer, obviously, who's out long term. So, but yeah, no Dendoncker tomorrow, and Olsen will be back on the bench, I guess. But yeah, there's two goalkeepers on the bench last week. So if Olsen's back on the bench, no Dendoncker. Maybe Caden Young's up there. I don't know.
Maybe we'll have a third keeper.
Third keeper on the bench. Imagine.
When they come out to train before the game, like five of them come in. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question, because I haven't really thought of it like that. You don't want to give a youth player the sort of message that, okay, now you're on the bench, whatever, you've made it in the first team, that you're here and that you can kind of not necessarily down tools at all, because it's incredibly hard to get to their position anyway. But you don't want to say to Caden Young, right, you're going to be on my bench now for the next, until the end of the season, but you probably won't play. So I don't know, mentally he might think, oh, I'm here, next season I guess it's giving that message of you'll be on the bench when I know that I can count on you to play in a game. So I do understand it. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's a bad experience for a player just to be around the dressing room and stuff after games, after defeats, and have, experiences of different results, going away from home as well, different things, because it's obviously that's your profession going forward for the next, 10, 15 years. But yeah, I didn't really think of the other side of it, to be fair. So I think that's a good point from Emery. At the same time, you don't want to kind of give players too much too soon. Yeah, interesting. We'll go on to the predict. Actually, quickly, I think Zaha as well. He's fit, isn't he, for Palace? I think he's missed 4 games.
Yeah.
But he's overcome a hamstring injury, and Palace haven't won in those 4 games. And we all know what happens when Palace do and don't have Zaha. So, yeah, hopefully we can, as you say, we have a good record against them when Zaha's usually playing anyway. So, yeah, hopefully that can continue. We'll go on to a predicted 11, Ash. Can we expect many changes? I think the only change, I mean, it's difficult really, because last week, obviously, I think Buendia and Bailey are that's probably the toss-up, I suppose, and it's a case of who's better coming off the bench, maybe, or is it not? Because will we need someone to come off the bench and give us a spark, or do we want to kind of wrap the game up before we have, the need to do that, and who's going to give you the best chance of that, Buendia or Bailey from the off? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a tough one for me. I'll probably throw Buendia in there, given his impact last week. And yeah, I don't think Bailey did enough from the start to earn another start, if that makes sense. So I'll go with Buendia. Great news for him today, back in the Argentina squad as well. He'll be buzzing with that. He really will be. Last time he was involved properly was over a year ago now. So he'll be bouncing into tomorrow off the back of that call up.
True.
Because it means a lot to him. So he's part of the World Cup champions. So he'll be well up for tomorrow. So on that might sway for me. I'll throw Buendia in, given his performance last week. And yeah, I'll bring Bailey on. I was quite pleased with Bailey when he came against Arsenal. You know, he almost won the game for Villa. He injected that bit of pace and that bit of directness towards the end of the game when Arsenal were flagging a little bit. He came on. Ramsdale made a great save, and it all went Pete Tongue after that. But yeah, I'd have Bailey on the bench tomorrow. I'd start Buendia. I can't work out about the left backs at the moment. He seems to. I think he's just sharing game time between them. Does he prefer one away from home, Luca Dean, or does he prefer Moreno at home? Moreno started against Arsenal, didn't he?
You caught me off guard. Yes, he did. Yeah, against Saka.
Yes. So is Moreno the home left back? I don't know. So interesting to see who starts them out. I don't think Luca Dean did too much wrong last week, to be honest. I think of the two fullbacks, I think Matty Cash struggled more than Luca Dean. So whether Alex Moreno is more progressive than him, if you want to go out in the front foot on home soil, maybe he could be the way to go. So wouldn't bother me either way, to be honest with you, John. Both capable left backs for me. But yeah, the only change I can see happening is Buendia in for Bailey. Because they're pretty bob on last week. McGinn's playing well. Midfield's doing well. Jacob Ramsey, a bit quiet last week for me. I think the Match of Day did a highlight piece on him, didn't they? But for me, I thought he's a bit quiet. He's not himself at the moment, Jacob. Showing the odd couple of runs into the box, but I don't know if his confidence been hit. I don't know. I want to see him take a game by the scruff of the neck, as it were. So hoping for a big performance from him tomorrow. But yeah, I think it'll be as you were with Buendia in for Bailey. About yourself?
Yeah, I think I'll go along with that as well. I think I'd play Moreno over Luca Dean, as you say, just because it's at home and you kind of get the sort of, I don't know, Palace have drawn a lot of games, so you get the sort of vibe that they're going to set up relatively deep, and we're going to need someone just to, do a 1-2, maybe get to the byline and put someone in the box. And obviously they're two different type of players going forward. Defensively, I don't think it's a bit of a toss of a coin, really. I think Dean's probably more secure, but again, he hasn't really been tested too much yet, Moreno, so we haven't, we can't really judge it too much. But yeah, I think the main sort of toss-up is the Buendia and the Bailey argument. I think either one, really, because Buendia, we know we can do off the bench, and Buendia can always slot into one of those midfield roles as well. So yeah, I'm in agreement. I think Ramsey, again, big game for him, because he can give us something that no one can in the squad, and that's that sort of power, running power, dribbling with the ball, progressing into the box, almost like I always say, like Grealish used to. He has that sort of quality, and we don't really have it without him. So I'm sure he'll start. And then, yeah, I would have thought Buendia probably gets his nod, because, as you say, that call-up as well is going to probably give him, extra confidence and do him the world of good. And that's a good point, that we want to kind of see a Buendia now that's, fully firing. I've said it for a few weeks. He'll have 1 or 2 good games, and that's fine. But for the sort of record amount of money that we paid for him, you want that over 5 or 6 games. And hopefully he can do that now that he's been called up to the Argentina squad, and he's obviously looked good under Emery too. So yeah, sort of a new lease of life for a few players, I suppose, under the manager. We'll go on to predictions, Ash, for the final part of the show. I think Palace on the longest winless run in the Premier League at the moment, and Zaha's just coming back. It's all sort of what we know is going to happen next. I would say a Villa win, but I've just got a bad feeling that it's going to be a draw, or we're not just going to get over the line. I don't know. I don't want to be negative, but yeah, I'm not actually particularly confident. I've seen a couple of pundits give their predictions like 2-0, very comfortable Villa win. I think Palace have drawn 5 of the last 6. So although they haven't won a lot, they don't lose a lot as well. So it is going to be a very tough game. There's no way we're going to go there and win 3-0, I don't think. I mean, I want that to be clipped up and put on the YouTube or whatever. But yeah, what's your prediction? I think it will be, my head's saying 1-1, my heart says 2-0.
I'll go 4-0. 4-0 Villa. I'm going to go berserk. John McGinn's going to score his first goal in 46 games. And yeah, Ollie Watkins going to score 2. And the roof's going to come off the place, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. But knowing me, it'll probably be a last minute Zaha winner. Cup in the ears to the Holt end if we switch around in the first half. But I'm hoping, goals. I'm hoping that they've learned from the mistakes against Leicester and Arsenal. They take some confidence from last week, and it all comes together for them tomorrow against a side who are not playing well, not scoring goals, and not winning football matches. So, Watkins back in the goals again tomorrow, and hopefully McGinn gets one. No goal in 45 games from McGinn since against Palace at Sellers Park. The early Gerrard reign. So it's mad, isn't it, really, for a player like McGinn, who scores freely for Scotland as he does, to 45 games without a goal for Villa. So hopefully McGinn breaks his duck and back to winning ways tomorrow down Villa Park. It's been too long, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been far too long. He usually gets say chips in with assists every now and again. He's got 2 assists under Emery. He wins penalties and stuff. So he is, again, we all know he's all action, and obviously
getting closer now.
Yeah, it would be a nice time to say break the duck and just say we've got a few games now. I don't want to say they're easy games because there's no such thing in the Premier League, but the winnable games, I suppose, if we're playing at our best. If we can play better than the opposition that we're playing in the next 2 months or whatever, I'm sure that we can be in a good position come the last sort of stretch of games of the season. Come May, at least the start of it, we'll be in and around the top 10, if not in it, quite comfortably, and we can finally break that. What is it, 11 years or coming on to almost 12 years now that we haven't finished in the top 10. So that needs to end, and hopefully tomorrow can be a catalyst like last week was to get back into winning ways, at least at home. Ash, thanks for joining me on the pre-match show. We'll be back. What's the date? Friday. We'll be back tomorrow evening. I think it will be Dan and Matt to do a post-match review of the game. So please stay tuned for that. And if you're not already, do subscribe and leave a like, rating too. Thanks everyone, and up the Villa.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your thoughts and comments. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.